Why, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Last week, I released Pathway to Prosperity, the Alberta Party's plan to get our province back on track. Our plan curbs government spending without hurting frontline services, reduces reliance on non-renewable resource revenues, and not only balances in 4 years, but also starts to pay back debt. That's quite a concept, Mr. Speaker. As part of our analysis, we modeled the NDP budget, and guess what? It never balances, ever. To the Minister of Finance, you claim you will balance the budget by 2024. Will you prove it by showing your work and including a detailed plan to balance in next week's budget?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you. Well, you'll have to wait till next week's budget to see where things are at. But I can give you the answer about PST right now. We will not bring in a PST. We have a plan to thoughtfully reduce our spending over time. We have a plan to deal with the deficit without bringing in a sales tax. Our plan focuses on important things Albertans need, and we're going to do those. We're going to freeze tuition. As the Deputy Premier said, we're cutting school fees. That side would create more after-school fees for kids. That side would raise tuition. They have before. We're not going to do those things. We're going to thoughtfully bring the deficit down.
Thank you. For supplemental.
So that's a no, you will never balance the budget. Mr. Speaker, this government doesn't seem to understand that someday it's Albertans that will have to pay back the massive debt load the NDP has piled up. This means raising taxes or sacrificing public services, or probably both. And their plans so far haven't worked. Their NDP tax increases have resulted in billions less in revenues because business is leaving the province. And further tax increases will make the problem worse. To the Premier, beyond simply crossing your fingers and hoping the price of oil goes up, what is your plan to put Alberta on a sustainable fiscal?
Deputy Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Our plan is to continue to work to make life better for Alberta families each and every day. That's one of the reasons why we're bringing forward a reasonable, predictable salary increase to the lowest wage earners in this province, because everyone deserves to put food on the table if you're working full-time, Mr. Speaker. That's one of the reasons why we're going to keep moving forward by protecting health and education. The members opposite want to cut those areas, and they want to cut the minimum wage, Mr. Speaker. We're not going to do that. We're going to stand up for Alberta families, make their lives affordable, and defend their jobs.
Second supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, our Pathway to Prosperity document also modeled the Wild Rose Plan. And I put that in air quotes because the official opposition hasn't actually put out any plans or shadow budgets or, frankly, much at all. But based on public statements and party policies, we know they would make massive and devastating cuts to public services. Again, to the Premier, do you have any estimates on how many teachers, nurses, Crown prosecutors, judges, court staff, social workers or first responders would be laid off if Wild Rose, or whoever they become, cut $8 billion or more from the provincial budget?
Deputy Premier.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and to the member for the important question. We saw what was being proposed in the last election, billions of dollars of public service cuts to the front lines. We see that there are folks out there talking about being able to cut 10% from line items. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, 10% from health is major hospitals and everyone's ridings that would be negatively impacted. We're not going to do that, Mr. Speaker. We're going to stand up for Albertans. The members opposite have a lot of areas they want to cut. The member who just asked the question has only 3 letters for an answer, PST. Neither one of those is the path that's going to bring Alberta forward, Mr. Speaker.